Good morning to you, my friends, wherever you may be in the world today. Clements here from Maui, Hawaii, United States of America, blessed planet Earth. August 9th, 2021. I hope this finds you well wherever you may be, in your heart, in your mind, in your body. Resuming my everyday live stream podcast as I see it. May I invite you to enter that most holy space in your heart and mind, to state the obvious but so easily overlooked, the prediction of continuity, of having time in front of us. Obviously, it's always there until it's no longer there. And there's something about the atmosphere of intimacy and urgency and awe and mysticism. I'm not speaking about the prediction of discontinuity or death. I'm speaking more about the sacredness of the space, and making in that shared, always interrelational, inseparable, interdependent, intersubjective, intergalactic, soulful, mystical space. Mysticism isn't something in the future. Heaven isn't something in the future. Enlightenment isn't something in the future. We're always in this radiant, always, everywhere dynamic of being. And what I'm pointing to here as a feeling invitation is making our everything an experience of meditative art, meditative holiness, mind art. The imbuing of thought, of language and expression with everything we ever meant to become in this immediacy of being. Give me a reason to love you. Give me a reason to feel. And I'm inviting that invitation inside through me into my art of consciousness, cognitive aesthetics, taking beauty out of the futuristic experience of insight, wisdom, liberation, enlightenment, heaven, God, Jesus Christ, Allah, and making the vocation of our religion, our holiness, our Dhamma, our meditation, our yoga, our ongoing, every directional asana, an event of mystical art, mind art, the immediacy of that beauty of style, Dharma art, Dharma aesthetics, the sapio, existential, intimate, sexual, transsexual, the erotification of Ubuntu, shared space, aesthetics. Good morning. The last several days, this last week, giving myself the gift of social interactions, gatherings, soirees, parties, birthday parties, spontaneous walks and talks and practice sessions, and living in the naturalness of the light, the oceans, the walks along the ocean shore, the beach, the wind, meeting new people, meeting people I've known for decades in a new way. I bring this up because it's been very interesting to me to see all the various styles of mind being, mind art. We're emotive creatures encased in this essence of an epidermis within an anatomical structure of biology, a cognitive ecosystem of mind and psychology and emotions. And we have in that, right, to state the obvious, but not always clear, the paintbrush of choice, the microphone of heart, the willingness to live through the fidelity of spirit made real through the flesh, the mind, the body, the thoughts, the psychology, the sound, the sight, the touch, the smell, the senses. In the realm of the spiritual senses, I bring my mind art, right? And it's so interesting to me to meet people. And of course you share information, and there's definition, interpretation, and there's recognition of spatial relationships, how close, how far, masked, not masked, and the information exchange, sharing, dynamic of this, that, and other. And it's so easy to get lost in the outside of the shared space, talking about the world of people, often what they're not doing. The vaxxed, the unvaxxed, the war on consciousness, the pornography. And then there's the give me a reason to love you, give me a reason to feel something unique and special between us right now. And so this talk, just kind of came to me during my morning walk in yoga, mind art and thought and language and expression. I hope to continue it for a couple of days. We'll see. Just my way of just playing into the arena of empowering, if I may invite you, the artistry, anointing all of the interior energies of emotion and psychology and conditioning and memory. I've had a friend who died of Alzheimer's. He lost his memory, the beauty of memory, the beauty of reflection, that we can remember lyrics to songs and we can sing them together or alone in shared space, in the interior space of one's own dream space. The artistry. There's something about the aesthetics of mind art. And just being willing to play in spaces that are unusual, sculpting thought dimensions, playing with the contraction of meaning, having a dynamic with spatial, cognitive, physical relations, with movement, mannerism, tone, intonation, syntax, motivation. If we only understood our motivations, the intentionality of our soul connected to our spirit, our higher intention, our more rooted motivations to anoint shared space with beauty and tenderness. If we only had access to the artistry of intimacy in a creative way, show me a reason to love me and to love you in this new space. Give me a reason to love you. I was listening to Portishead this morning during yoga. So much of my life is about yearning. There's never a sense of completion. As much as I meditate in this state of occupying now time presence and feeling, knowing, seeing, feeling, knowing, seeing, feeling, knowing, seeing, feeling, release, engage. There's something that's yearning. I like that yearning, that river of hope. The poetry, the cognitive energy of like, okay, another day on the palette of shared space. What will I do? What will I bring to the unusual moments, to the woman, to the man, the clerk, the counter, checkout? 10,000 people this month they've seen. What will you do in the poetry of that shared space? Give a memorable moment, give a sonnet, give a song, do a hip-hop, rave, dance, play in that shared reggae of Ubuntufication. The Bodhisattva, the Buddha to be, was said to have played in reverential Dharma poetry with every human being he and she met along the long journey of awakening. Think of that rad, that arena, that stage, that open mic of spirit meeting God and Jesus and all the most beautiful people at your party. Who will you introduce me to? Give me a reason to love you. Something in that yearning, that erotification of God, that poetry that takes it out of the projection of ordinary and dogma and orthodoxy, dogma, the contrafication, the solidification, the paralysis of spirit, orthodoxy, tradition, four walls of the church, the Vatican that closes in my soul and makes a vault out of it, living in a coffin of success. I almost choked on my own dogma. You're at parties, you're at gatherings, you're at soirees. You can see these styles, right? If you're on acid, you're on meditation, you're on yoga, you're high on your own pranayama of your own soul. You can feel these little architectures, these information banks of cognitive shared space. It's so beautiful and so poignant and so tragic. And we're all yearning to find new vistas and landscapes and topographies of play. And there's something very beautiful about that poetic play. I was watching last night at a gathering I was invited to, and just sitting back and watching and feeling and anointing the shared space simply with high reverence of listening. Expression and language, so much is about the ability to relax the urge to communicate in that way, but to communicate through a more cellular dance of infusing the space with sacred safety. You are present, sacred safety. Gives people the security that you're paying attention from not just the seat of your pants or the upper crest of your soul, but something close to your entirety. And again, coming back to the spirit of yearning, you're yearning to hear more, you're feeling, you're kind of at the edge of your seat, but sitting back. Mind art. Language and words and expression, listening, tonality, definition, meaning. How well do you communicate holism? How well do you engage from within back out? So it's unidirectional rather than at, you, me, kind of like information bullets. One-upmanship. Really deadbeat boring, right? But then there's that reason to be in shared space where mind art becomes something, okay, you want to play here too? Let's do a sonnet together. Let's do a poem. Let's dance and twinkle and use our mannerisms and our tone and the light and the shade. And I smell your perfume. I can see your beautiful blue eyes, your red lips, your complexion, your radiance. And you anoint it with honor, with dignity, with states of mind that you feel that are intimate and real and authentic and dignified and rapturous with tender, whatever it is that means tender to you. Making something real and unique to you is so beautiful to meet people who are inarticulate, so to speak, with this or that, and we all do. But then there's that more naturalness of their own unique expression, how they use words, how they use tone, how they use space, how they sculpt cognitive shared formations that deliver, I would say, high meaning. There's something beautiful about making the moment, the shared moment, the 10 minutes, the 5 minutes, often in a soiree or a gathering or a party like last night. encounters are not all that long, but they can make them memorable. They live in the soul of the other person and yourself, perhaps forever. I met people last night that I haven't seen in 10 years, some 20 years, some even 35 years. And just like that, there's an intimate recognition of timeless friendship. Well, I'm not going to get too much further into this. I just want to keep it playful and open-hearted, simple, and just see where I go throughout the day and where I want to go tomorrow. I'm in no hurry right now. And try in my own way to develop this theme of mind art. What does it mean to wake and breathe and move with a purposeful aesthetic and a conscious purpose within consciousness to use thought rather than being used by or abused by thought. Judgment, blame, shame, worry, doubt, grasping, addictions, worry, tiredness, sloth, torpor, anxiety, stress, these types of thoughts that often aren't included in mind art. And how to take sometimes in the morning, in the evening, the hardened clay, if you will, not really hardened, but the hardened clay of consciousness, and know how to moisten it, right? Moisten it through liquid and drink and light and yoga and meditation and bathing and hygiene and cleanliness and song and dance and poetry and reading and writing, all the ways that you begin to massage your own luminosity again, right? And your own radiance. And therein lies, all of a sudden you find that sweet spot where you're in flow with yourself, and flow is meeting flow and taking it higher and deeper, more enriched, more holographic, more intimate. And there's that moment of inspiration. And how to create these mind artful moments of inspiration with other, but with self. And all of a sudden, in that inspiration, you go deeper and you feel the pre-intuitive thought, the pre-intuitive expressions, the language metaphorically of the soul. Isn't that what we're about? Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we're meditating? In breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. That's one form of meditation, but then there's language of timeless primordial enlightenment and tenderness and intimacy, allowing us to be conduits of God, of Jesus, of Buddha, of Kuan Yin, of you, uniquely you, the artistry of your own creative uniqueness. And so the art of epiphany as poetry and mind art, how to create moments that ignite epiphany between individuals in a conversation, and how to learn the theatrics, the improvisational presence, so to speak, within shared space, and to develop skills of expression, skills within the soul art of language. And so I'll leave it at that. I want to talk more tomorrow of specific categories of consciousness, mind states. I want to talk more about specific categories of thought and thinking, reflective thinking, the power of consciously recalling information like I am right now with language. We all trained our minds to learn syllables and words and meaning and tone, and we put them all together to speak more spontaneously. But what about the spontaneity of energy, the spontaneity of emotionality, the spontaneity of authenticity, a specific state of mind, the spontaneity of creative intimacy? Give me a reason to love you. I love her singing that. Give me a reason. The yearning of the soul to be met. How well do we meet that desire to be met? How well do we meet other who is perhaps not even wanting to be met, through patience and thoughts of non-judgment, thoughts, the protocol of safety within shared space. What does it mean to be interesting? That's another interesting question for me. I was watching and feeling over the last week, especially last night, a very intimate dance of beautiful minds and people, and listening for the cues inside of my own heart of what made him or her or them in their conversation interesting. Or was I bringing interesting energy to that which maybe not be that interesting, or even underestimating the value of the genius, and I'm only thinking it's interesting? And how do these confluences of poet and poetry and language and expression and listening as mind art, all of these choices that we make in such a rapid fashion, it's unimaginable, the trillions of moments in consciousness, right? But I love people who study the frequencies of intonation, meaning, language, expression. It's like the tantra of auditory vibration made real through the mindful intelligence of sound and thought. And, we all touch on our bodies, but we also touch so intimately in consciousness. And how to reinvent, re-enchant the poetic of love. Mind art, that's an art, isn't it? How to remarriage day after day. The calcification and the predictability of shared space in which there's boredom, and then all of a sudden there's deception. And these are all thought, mind art, or the lack of it. So allow me to stop here. Mind states, thoughts, categories of thoughts, reflection, the place of reflection. What is mindfulness of thought? How to overcome denigrating thought? How to evolve creative, compassionate? I want to be a different thinker. I am not my thoughts. That's one little small category of chiseling through mindfulness, or a windshield wiper Dharma. Not this, not me, not that, not that. But then there's the whole vocation of sonic embrace, the love affair with expression, and how to bring that to the forefront of shared space. So from my heart to yours, thank you for tuning in today, just playing on the shared scape of feeling good today, going down to the beach and take a beautiful walk with my friend and listen to the wind and to feel the sand and the light and the holiness of another day in the life. May I invite you to rise up. There's every reason to despair in the narrative of the collective right now. Disengage from those narratives, that mind grab of the collective hysteria. It's so, whoa, God, vaxxed, not vaxxed, detrimental role of vaxxed, not vaxxed, war on those who are vaxxed or unvaxxed. It's like, boy, talk about mind control. And coming back to mind art, man, woman, I live pretty much alone in the sanctity of my own environment, shared as it is. And I refuse to let the media or the pundits of pornography take my mind share. Mind art is knowing how to keep your studio awake and well lit, vibrant with the intimacy of creative possibility. Of those of you who write books and films and make song and music and do practices, you know the art of boundaries and protection. Same thing with mind art. When you're making love, you want to keep distractions and dissonance and things away. So to stay in that shared space, mind art, the art of choosing words and language, tone, timing, intention, and the art of graceful expression. So from my heart to yours, have a beautiful day, and God willing, hope to see you tomorrow here from Maui, 9:30 a.m. Thank you.